This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone. Welcome on in to the speed build. I'm Velvet. Thanks for joining me today, and we are building just a small, perfect family home. I've been wanting to build something like this for a while. I have been caught up in a fairy house frenzy, but we're taking a little break from the fairies, and we are going back to, well, what is quite frankly my very favorite style, which is a little bit more modern. But I love all the styles, really. But modern is just like the rest of my little velvety heart. And yeah, I just wanted to do something that was really cute, but also quite focused on landscaping. And I feel like, I did a good job with this. I was quite happy with how the landscaping came out. I'm building this on the Dock Den lot. So this lot is in, I'm going to say Windenburg. Oh, shoot. Where is it? I'm like, yeah, I remember the name of the lot. And then I forget the name of the world. Yeah, it's Windenburg. Oh boy, I was trying to be organized too. Oh well, what a fail. Anyway, that really was the idea for this particular build. Was I wanted to really dig into the idea of having quite a formally landscaped garden, like rather than going ham and just going wild and doing whatever. I thought, you know what, let's plan this out a little more. So I did actually go into this having an idea, not necessarily how I was going to do it, but what I wanted to do, if that makes sense. So, I am sort of figuring it out as I go along, how I want it to sort of all go and, that sort of thing. But in terms of the layout and where I wanted things, like I knew I wanted to use this paving. Now, this paving is actually a debug item. I love this item. It's fantastic for landscaping with because your Sims can work on top of it. Work on top of it? Walk on top of it. It is a debug item, and sometimes Sims can have a little bit of trouble with the debug items, but in this instance, this particular debug paving item is great. They can walk on it. They're very happy to, stomp around in their fabulous shoes on top of these stones, and yeah, I like to use it all the time. Well, not all the time, but I do use it regularly. And I did also want to have like a little cute seating area. And it took a little bit of figuring out how I wanted to actually do this and how it was going to end up. But a little bit of fluffing around here, a little bit of fluffing around there. And you know what? I really did get it in the end. And I was very happy with how it sort of ended up. The idea is I wanted to have an outdoor area that was covered up and did look quite pretty, but also, had sun streaming in and, it would be a really nice sort of seating area. I also wanted to feature a little garden space. And you know what? I did test this out and I wasn't too sure about this. When I was actually putting this together, I wasn't too sure because I'd never really particularly tried this, but I wasn't too sure whether or not the garden would be accessible by the Sims if I put a little fence around it. And that's just a little base game fence. But you know what? It was absolutely fine. Didn't stop the Sim from getting in there and gardening at all. So I was quite delighted. I was like, ooh, yay, I can do little fenced garden spaces now. And I thought having it fenced just added to, the vibe of what I'm trying to achieve in this particular backyard garden, which is a little bit more of a formal planned look to it. Like not super formal. It's not like a palace garden or anything like that, but more planned is kind of the idea behind it. Like there has been forethought into how this is going to be laid out. And I felt like putting a little fence around the garden really added to that sort of concept of forethought. And like this is the place where the garden goes because we put a fence around it and we know that's where the garden goes. And I just wanted like little cute patches of garden around in different places. And you can see I've used the terrain paint around the pool area as well. I did lift the pool up by one, just because I wanted the edging and the pool just to stand out that little teeny tiny bit. And it doesn't stop the Sims from getting in the pool by doing that little lift by one. So absolutely fine for them getting in the pool. And it just adds like a little, I guess, a 3D kind of dimensional effect. It just gives it a little bit more impact, I felt like. So I gave it a little lift. And as you can see here, I'm just sort of dotting around a little bit more of the landscaping. Now, this particular build is a limited pack build. So I only built this with 3 packs plus base game. So it's Get Together, Cottage Living, and Eco Lifestyle. It was initially just going to be Get Together and Cottage Living. And that was going to be it in terms of the packs that I was going to use. But then when I got to the inside, I wanted to create this like little area for the fire. And neither Get Together or Cottage Living had a small enough fire to fit in the space. So I ended up adding an Eco Lifestyle, which I think was a great idea because it just added more to the build and gave me like a couple more options, but more than a couple, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Eco Lifestyle is one of my very favorite packs anyway. So yeah, Get Together is one of my very favorite building packs as well. And I also adore Cottage Living for a building pack. I can't remember specifically why I chose Cottage Living, because I did obviously go a little bit more modern, but there was something from that pack that I really wanted, and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, you know what it was. It was the garden. I wanted to have the rose in the garden. That was the whole reason I added Cottage Living. That's right. Oh, but sometimes it's a bit like that. If you are doing a limited pack build, sometimes there's just that one item that you absolutely want to have in the build, and so the whole choice of packs that you are choosing comes down to sometimes that one item. It's not to say that I didn't use other items from the pack, but that was the reason I chose that item. And the reason that I chose Get Together was the columns. It's sometimes just the simplest thing. I love those Get Together columns. They are plain, they are simple, they are straight, they can be stacked, they are just like really good colors. It's just a great column, and it's my favorite column. So Get Together gets a lot of use from me just because of that column. Now, in this little backyard seating area, I was trying to do like a little bit of a table space. I wanted to do a bigger one, but I just couldn't quite get the layout for it. So I didn't end up sticking with that larger table. It did go a little bit smaller. I fenced it off and I did like a little corner nook for it. And yeah, so I ended up just going with like a little corner table, but I feel like that was enough. It's not a giant home. It's only on a 30 by 20 lot. So, there isn't a whole lot of space for doing, all of this amazing thing. It's compact. It's a small sort of perfect family home. And, there's going to be a kid's bedroom. There's going to be an adult bedroom. There's a pool out there for the kids. There's monkey bars there for the kids. And there's like an entertaining space for the family as well. The garden space, just a little bit of a practical living off the land kind of thing. If you want to, maybe grow your own vegetables or grow your own fruits there in the garden. It's always nice to have some fresh herbs, maybe even when you're cooking. Could be quite delightful. So, you can see me working on the chimney here for the fireplace that I talked about, and the reason why I added the Eco Lifestyle pack to this. Oh, the other reason I really wanted the Cottage Living pack was the Whisper brick, or that little brick that they have with the Cottage Living pack, because I wanted to do like a brick, but I wanted to do a light brick, and I feel like that brick from Cottage Living is like a gateway brick for someone who really struggles to use brick, which is me, unless I'm doing an industrial style build. Using a brick in this build quite delighted me. I was very proud of myself because I really, honestly, I do struggle with brick sometimes. And the fact that I could actually turn this into a brick home with a little bit of the stone, obviously, it made me happy. So I think we're getting close to being done with the exterior landscaping. There's a little few pieces around the place. Oh, look, you can see me using a little bit of tool there. I don't often use tool, but I've been trying to I'm trying to learn a little bit more about tool. So you might see me now, every now and then just using the tool mod just to do a couple of things here and there, just because I am trying to learn it a little bit and get to know it a bit, because sometimes, things are just not quite the right size, or I want to flip them around, and the tool mod is actually really useful for that. It's why we have it in the game. So, or not why we have it in the game. It's why it's available and out there, and why it's one of the most popular building mods out there. Because you can do so much with it. And I'm very much a novice with it. I've used it from time to time. I know a little bit about it, but I want to improve my skills on it. So you will see me using it from time to time, just to do little things around the place, I'd say, as I get more and more familiar with it. Hey, maybe one day I'll be a fancy tool user. Yeah, sure. Uh, so, just finishing the touches out on the exterior area, I really like this little second seating nook that's just under the balcony, under the house as well. Again, that was a planned space. I always planned to put that there. I had a very strong inspiration for the front of the house. I had a really strong inspiration for the back of the house. They were not the same inspiration, funnily enough. So my inspiration for the styling of the house was one thing, and then my inspiration for the layout of the landscaping was a whole other inspiration. I just kind of mashed them together and made them into a fabulous build. I feel like it was fabulous anyway. I was very happy with it. Like, I finished it and I was just like, you know what? I feel happy with that. And sometimes I don't always feel that way, It just, yeah, sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't know about this one. But in this instance, I finished it and I was just like, I know about this one. I like this one. I was happy with it. It's just, I set out with a plan of what I wanted to achieve with this build. And I achieved what I wanted to achieve with this build. Maybe it's not perfect. I don't know. I think it's kind of like the perfect little family home. You've got exactly what you need. You've got a kitchen space, you've got dining space, you've got a living room, you've got 2 bedrooms, you've got outdoor living, you've got indoor living space, things to do. So, I feel like it's got everything that you need for your Sims to get in there. Not the biggest home, but that's the idea. It wasn't supposed to be big. The challenge was that it was a smaller home. And I really love the colors that I chose on the inside as well. I feel like Eco Lifestyle, having that pack, really helped me, I guess, get the direction of the color that I wanted to do on the interior, because I didn't have a strong idea of what the interior, I knew what rooms I wanted in the interior, but I didn't know what colors I wanted to go with in the interior. And I felt like, yeah, it ended up being quite nice, because I went with quite neutral colors in the browns and then just added that little pop of blue around the place. And the Eco Lifestyle blue that I had there from that pack ended up just being such a perfect color for the interior of this build, and it just worked so nicely. So I was quite delighted by it. It's just like, it's not like a bright blue, it's not like a dark blue, it's just one of those, it's just a really, I don't know, what's the color? It's not quite denim blue, but it's around about that. It's getting close to that. It's a nice blue anyway, whatever. I know what I'm trying to say. But yes, we had like a decent sized kitchen. I ended up like moving that dining table, I don't know how many times. It just went forth, it went back, it went forth, it went back. It just like got tweaked here, got tweaked there, got tweaked there. And I skipped over that for you guys because it was honestly ridiculous. I don't know how long I spent just shifting it here, there, and everywhere. I couldn't find a place where I absolutely loved it sitting. But where it is actually decent. Like, I like where it is, but I wanted to have like a little bit more room running between the dining or the kitchen and dining space into the living space, but I just didn't have that option because it is a reasonably small home. And it is what it is sometimes. You just got to work with the space that you've got. But I continued on the brown theme with a touch of the blue in the upstairs shared areas, and then I went slightly different colors in the bedrooms. And I feel like it's a good thing to do because then your bedrooms have a little bit more of an individual kind of style to them, which I think is a good thing. It's your personality coming out in your bedroom. So I did make this twin single for the kids' room. Well, it's bunk beds. So this is the kids' room here. So we've got bunk beds in there. It'll give you space for 2 kids in the house. So 2 kids and up to 2 adults. So up to a foursome family home. And I thought the darker blue carpet was actually quite nice in this room, and it ended up balancing it out quite nice with the lighter coloured wallpaper. Because this is a limited pack build, it's a little bit more limiting in terms of what I have available to me, because limited pack. So I felt like I pretty much leaned into base game in the kids' room. but there is some good, decent base game kids stuff in there. So, you know, not a problem. And then this is the parents' room. I was initially going to kind of do the flip side of the thing and have a dark wall and lighted floor, which was, you know, the opposite of what I did in the kids' room. But I just couldn't get the right vibe with the bed, so ended up changing the color of the bed and going like a little bit more brown with like the touches of the lighter blue with the stone, and I think that ended up working out okay. Anyway, we are getting towards the end of this build, so I'm going to leave you guys just to enjoy the tours here and see how it all finished up in the pics. But I want to say a big thank you for being here today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.